If you don't have a RevOps, run away, because you will not make it. You have two options: or you run away, or you're becoming your own RevOps. But I can swear, if as a CMO, VP marketing, whatever, you do the job of a RevOps, you're already fucked, because you don't do your job of VP marketing.
Today, we're talking about what it actually means to activate data, how you design feedback loops that actually work, and why alignment between marketing, sales, and product is where the magic happens. My guest today spent almost 16 years at SaaS company Actito, working his way through customer success, sales, product, and eventually leading marketing for nearly 6 years. Now he's VP of Growth at Luzmo. He calls himself a human connector, someone who builds bridges between teams and between data and action. And he has one clear conviction: every marketing team needs a RevOps role. Welcome, Jonathan Wuurman.
Hey, mister. Thank you for the invitation. Really pleased to be here.
Jonathan, you worked in customer success, sales, product, and marketing, often at the same company. What has that journey given you in terms of perspective that you wouldn't have if you'd stayed in just one function?
I think that basically schools learn you to learn, and that your experience learn you to deliver. And my grandmother was always saying a job is something that you steal from the best ones. And so by being able to have a journey in different roles, you steal from all those people. And at the end of the day, when you put all that together, I think it make a better version of myself, because I was able to steal from a lot of very good people within their own jobs. I'm not sure if that makes sense for you.
Yeah, it does. Which of those roles taught you the most about what marketing actually is?
First of all, I have a very big take on marketing, to be honest. So I'm probably totally biased. For me, marketing is sales. So I know that a lot of people love to split marketing from sales, but for me, it's like the two pieces of a coin. You cannot have good sales without good marketing, and you cannot have good marketing without good sales. So probably that the one that learned me the most about delivering, it's probably my role in product, because you don't have to sell, you don't have to market, you have to deliver on client expectations. So I think that is always, in my opinion, what we should always focus on is delivering on clients' expectations. My previous boss always said that a company should be a C+1 company. You may not be more than one step away from the client, whatever is your job.
If there are anything, what's something you believed when you were in sales that you now know was completely wrong?
Very, very easy. Problem that I had with sales, and I started my career in sales, is that I wanted to make a lot of money. And that money was the driver of waking up in the morning instead of delivering again on client expectations and having a strong empathy for what you're doing. So when your drive in the morning is making money, you shouldn't basically do sales, marketing, or anything. I don't know, go on Wall Street. That's where you should be, not in any kind of sales or marketing job. Wolves of Wall Street is a very good example. That was my vision of sales. But that is something, at least in the SaaS, like I know for now more than 15 years, definitely not the right way to go. Money shouldn't be your driver. Client satisfaction should be your driver.
You describe yourself as a human connector. What does that mean in practice, and what does it look like in your day-to-day?
I think it came from a lot of different experience through the years, I would say. I feel fucking old when I say that, man. Sorry, but it's probably true. I'm 43 now, but I remember when I was my first year at Actito, I ended up with the economical mission, where you go with your king and all the politics abroad. And I was with one of our founders, and I was in San Francisco with like the entire Belgium delegation, trying to build bridges with US, sell to those guys, blah, blah, blah. I was 29, man. I think the second youngest person from that audience was 50. And I remember turning around to my boss and say, what the hell I'm doing here? I could be the kid of all those guys over here. And the funny thing, he said, you just need to ask what they do. And they will start talking for 30 minutes for you. And I did that, and it was damn true. People love to talk about themselves. And so one people talk to you, then a second one, then a third one, and then you can start making the connections. Oh, wait, I was talking with Odd about this, and I was talking with Franz about this, and now I'm talking with you, Deepak. And so the ability that you can have by connecting conversation help you connecting people. And that is, in my opinion, driving that entire community. And fast forward nearly 20 years later, when I go to a fair trade today, I feel very comfortable because I know that I will know somebody, and that somebody will introduce me to somebody else that I don't know. And then that snowball effect is starting, and that's the magic of it. But when I was younger in my career, I was convinced that it was hard to do that. But it's not hard. It's just, hey, Odd, what do you do for a living? What's your biggest challenge tomorrow? Just with that, I can start a conversation, a meaningful conversation, and start connecting you with other people or with ideas that I have. And that's the magic. That's for me connecting. And I go one step further now. It's trying also to build those bridges within a company. I love when companies said, we are very lean. There is no silos. The information stream from left to right. Everybody is aligned on mission statement. Big bullshit. Hear me well? Big bullshit. Every company that I talk to preach that, but the reality is most of the time definitely the opposite of that. And so something that I did out of curiosity at Actito, I know that some of the IT guys, and I'm more a sales marketing guy, you get it, but we had two IT guys that arrive at 7:30 at the office, which is very early in Belgium, to be honest. And I arrive at the same time, and I was just listening to the conversation of those guys. I didn't know what CRM meant. I didn't know what an API was. I amply heard about an FTP in my life or RG45. Those guys were talking about all those words, and I had pen and paper writing down everything like Chinese words because I didn't understood. And then what I did in the evening or when I go home, Googling just the words to understand. And step by step, I was getting more understanding about their conversations. And the beauty, there is like a black and white in a company would be like salespeople to one end and the product people to the other end. Why? Sales oversells the shit. Product get mad about it. Sales want to sell something. Product don't want to do it. So they're always writing together. The beauty, I was a sales guy that had conversation with product where product was helping me to sell and even sometimes overselling because they say, push this, John, so we can get it on the roadmap. Because I was gently interested in what they were talking about with their challenges. And I've never considered myself as any kind of coder, but I want to understand how it works. Give me your play. What are the boundaries? How do I need to visualize that? And with that, I have enough. And with that, I can do my job and I let you do your job. And so that was for me, there are two angles in that connection. It's trying to connect the people from an emotional standpoint of view, trying to enrich himself from all our stories, but be geniusly interested in things that seems like the opposite of what you should be learning.
It's not always easy to be the connector. How do you connect people who clearly don't want to be connected?
I think it's a false belief that you have, if I may. We are social
Okay.
animals. We are social animals. That we want it or not, we are social animals. You have people that are very social and some other that are slightly social. But I don't know anyone that lives alone. I don't know anyone that lives like on an island alone in Utertia. I think that's how we say it in English. So it's just you need to find the things that you can have those conversations and trust and building. It's a tough job. I'm not saying it's easy. It's a tough job. Simple example. My audience, and I will do it that way so that I can do a bit of marketing stuff. Those clients of Luzmo are product people. Everybody tells me that product people or introvert person don't want to talk with, definitely not sales, not with brands. They don't want to go to events. They are not present on social media. I give you a simple example. We have 11,000 followers on our LinkedIn page. I engage on a weekly basis with 25 followers of that page, which is mostly people from a product team, go from data engineer, VP product. 80% of those people accept my invitation. Out of those 80 on average, 35 say thank you for reaching out. Everybody tells me that those people are not social. Bullshit. They're lurkers on social media. And it's just that if you don't do the step to them, they will not make the step to you. So building a relation, building connection in my world is, okay, I need to do the first step. It's not a problem. Paid forwards, I've been trained that way. Paid forward and you get back. Connecting is make the first step.
Let me rephrase the question then. If you think about it internally in an organization, how do you connect people that historically have not been able to connect or talk to each other, understand each other, etc.? How do you kind of go into the middle of that and connect the two parties?
First of all, I'm not a builder, so I didn't build my own company, but I think you need to have that in the roots of your company as part of the culture. And I will take an example that I had at Actito. A lot of engineers, technical profile, introvert person, not willing to go to any events. And there were a lot of kind of small meetups in Belgium, left and right. And for my own education, I was nearly in all of them, learning from those people there. And I just took a couple of those bracket introvert people with me. I say, hey, buddy, it was Florian at that time, it was Alain. I'm going to that event. They're going to talk about Node.js. Do you look at me? I have no fucking clue what Node.js still is today. But they were very excited by that. And I say, I will be there, so it could be cool if you join. It's not that I had to force. They were so happy that I was going there so that they could stick to me and be part of that community. So again, it's making a step, giving them enough comfort and confidence to get out. So that was outside, but you can do that inside. Something that I try to do at Luzmo is live my life of a marketeer, live my life of a salesperson, just so that people see what their other colleagues are doing on a daily basis. And that's already something you can do in your own team if you think about it. Take like in my team, I own marketing, I have product marketing, I have RevOps, I have the SDR person in my team, I have content management. I can swear my RevOps can write content. My content can fire out a Zapier workflow because every Tuesday, instead of doing the lovely weekly meeting where nobody give a shit about it because you have your own shit to deliver, every week I change a person and you need to show and tell something that you do on a weekly basis. So this week, I have a newcomer in the team since 2 weeks. She put on herself to build a community for Luzmo. So she has been sharing her learnings, her research, the goals, what she tried to achieve. Everybody knows what she's doing. The week before, it was my RevOps guys. He's with NHN, Zapier, AI agents, and all those kind of black magic for most of us. And he was just showing us a couple of things that we use to qualify things, to process data faster. Next week, it will be Rosita, which is my SDR lady or my demand gen lady. And she's talking about how she approached the TAM in multi-channel and how which hook works, which hook doesn't work. And basically, I think by sharing knowledge, you're breaking silos.
I really love that. I think there's not enough businesses that actually practice what you just said that you guys are doing. I've experienced something like that in a previous role, and it was really something that the team appreciated. So if you're listening or watching, you should copy the example that Johnson just said.
Now, just to reduce the pressure on the audience that is listening, I do that in my team, and I'm the only one that does this within Luzmo organization of a 55 plus company. The thing is, if nobody starts showing a way and trying to build that way, nobody will change, because change is something which is very hard for humans. And again, steal from the best should be a motto. And I will repeat that: steal from the best, learn from the best. That's really something. There is one guy in marketing and also like a very entrepreneurial person that I kind of really appreciate is David Cancel and Dave Gerhardt. They were both behind a company called Drift. And I don't remember exactly the detail, but Friday, 3 p.m., all the teams had to stop working. Finito. Week is done. And from 3 to 5, I don't know how many teams they had, probably something like 8 teams. There were like 10 minutes and they were called show and tell. You had 10 minutes in the marketing team to show and tell something to the organization. 10 minutes after, it was sales. Then it was engineering. Then it was product. Then it was finance. Then it was founders. And this is something, in my opinion, that give them a purpose, a moat, and where you're driving your force. Otherwise, let's face it, human or fucking selfish people, animals. We are selfish. You think always at yourself first. Even if you say no, bullshit. If you can make more money, have a more decent stuff, you will focus on you. But by driving all that energy from all the teams together, you are building without knowing the glue of your company. You're breaking the silos, because then people on the Monday, well, they'll be at the coffee machine, they will say, hey, Art, you were talking about that tagging system that I could potentially use to track better my leads. Can you give me more about that? And because I'm genuinely interested about what you were sharing, you will help me achieve a better goal. And all those little elements, I don't know how you say it in English, but Einstein called that like the compiling effect. Small, 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 small. It's huge at the end. That's what we want to achieve as a company.
Yeah. You believe every marketing team should have a RevOps role. What does
Yep.
that person actually do, and what goes wrong when that role doesn't exist?
It just doesn't work. I repeat myself. If you don't have a RevOps in a marketing organization, which is mainly focusing on building pipeline sales and processes and lead magnet and scoring, if you don't have a RevOps, run away, because you will not make it. You have two options: or you run away, or you're becoming your own RevOps. But I can swear, if as a CMO, VP marketing, whatever, you do the job of a RevOps, you're already fucked, because you don't do your job of VP marketing.
How do you compare marketing ops and RevOps in that sense?
It's I'm not sure that I exactly know the details where the like the how do you say that, the frontier is between both. I think a RevOps can be a marketing ops because he has probably a broader scope, because RevOps will work not mainly for marketing, but for an organization, where a marketing ops is dedicated to the operations from a marketing standpoint of view. So that might be like the split that I would see in this. If I take my RevOps is the marketing ops, because he's dedicated at 99% for us, but I can already show you that they took the marketing ops to build some automations in HubSpot for the sales team or for the CS team. That's not marketing then anymore. Then it's becoming RevOps for me. It's at the company level then. That's where I would see like the gap. And there is a thing that I love. I'm a big fan of Formula One. Do you know how many people are in a garage at the Grand Prix? How many people work for one guy that drives the car on average?
I would say around 50.
250 on average. So you have 250 specialists that work for one jerk behind the steering wheel. So if you think from an organization standpoint of view, a company is those 250 people that works towards the output, which is owned by the driver. The RevOps is the guy that makes sure that those 250 people work in the best setting possible to deliver on where they need to deliver. And I'm the driver of the marketing seats, so the RevOps works for me. I would not be able to upscale my people and to get my targets if I have nobody building the engineering or the machine behind what I think? Impossible. Impossible.
What skills should you look for when hiring your first RevOps person or marketing ops? But let's focus on RevOps.
Okay, let's put a disclaimer on this. First of all, hiring is the toughest thing on earth. As simple as that. Hiring is the toughest thing that I ever had to do. And I hire quite a lot. I fire a lot as well. I would fire myself probably sometimes for doing stupid moves as well. So that said, I'm not an expert in hiring. Now, if you talk about skills, I have a very strong opinion about that. And it comes from my own perspective. I have like an imposter syndrome very strongly in me still today. I always believe that I'm not that good, to be honest, that I should be better. But there is one thing that I notice is that curiosity should be the major things that you look into somebody. How curious is the people to learn? And I think if that's into the person, and of course a little of other things, but if that's deeply in the person, I would definitely go for him. I would hire 100%, I'll give 100% more chance at somebody that don't have any big papers of schools, which is damn curious about what he can do with Claude Code versus a very smart engineer that work at McKinsey and that will tell me, I don't know which kind of bullshit. Curiosity is the first skill that you should look into people.
I agree. No wonder we connected so good, Jonathan, because we share the same views.
No, but I think it's important, you know, when you're curious, by default, you do the efforts, but you don't feel as doing the effort. And you can take hundreds of examples of that. You want to learn running, you will be learning about running techniques, the food, the this, the that. But it doesn't feel like something which is forced to you. It's because you're curious about it that you like to learn about it. That's why I believe that a platform such as YouTube is so important today. I don't know for you, but I use YouTube for everything in my life. Going from how the hell should I bake this or make this meal about changing, I don't know, something in my house that need to be fixed. You go on YouTube. It's
Yeah.
there. So you can learn everything without going to any school today, in my opinion.
You have a lot of how to do this and that videos out there.
But even for us, SaaS players, I think since last or this month, AI or LLMs, let's say that way, like everybody had to be on Reddit. You heard that? If you're not on Reddit, basically you're not coming in the GOAO. You had that conversation with Franz. I will not go into detail. I was a bit like you. I call it that is still for me SEO, full stop. But if you were not on those platforms, your SEO was basically dead. It boils down to that. Since this month, if you're not on YouTube, you're fucked again.
I'm quite happy that it's YouTube that is taking over the lead rather than some other platform that I don't like. But it makes sense though, because there's so much material, so much answers to questions, so much how to do this and that information on YouTube. And you have the luxury of actually watching how things are done. You can watch guides, you can watch visually explaining of deep stuff. But yeah, it's I love it.
That's why I love YouTube. It's show and tell. You see. You're very good at everything around analytics. Tag Manager was the most obscure piece of technology that I had to work with. I didn't understand anything. The day that somebody just opened the HTML of my website, show me that they put some IDs on buttons that allow me to see conversion in Google Analytics. Okay, I get it now. Let's go 100% with Google Tag Manager now. And that's
Exactly.
again why you need a RevOps. The RevOps will be great at putting that in place. A good RevOps or marketing ops is the guy that asks to the business, what are you trying to achieve? This could help you to achieve it. That's how I see RevOps. It's like a two side of a coin. There is the guy that think about the business, and there is the guy that think about the engineering, how we can basically build a system behind it, connecting the dots. That's why big shout out to Laurent Fulster, which is my RevOps now for 5 years or 6 years. It's a friend of mine for nearly 16 years. And so he will be the guy that as soon as I can take him with me in my next journey, we rebuild. And we're learning extremely a lot every week. I know that sometimes on Friday, Laurent look at me and I say, man, I'm so tired mentally. It's a mental fatigue, but he says, I feel so good about the progress that we do. And which is fun is that Laurent, which is a very introvert person normally, is basically the most active person in my team and probably the best coach of every single person of my team because of his specific set of skills that making a marketing / RevOps.
You mentioned some while back that you love designing feedback loops. Can you give a concrete example of a loop you've built and what it actually changed?
Ooh, yes. So a very broad question, to be honest, and feedback loop. I think they exist in different ways. I think one of the feedback loop that I kind of always try to challenge is the famous NPS, Net Promoter Score, which is a feedback loop if you think about it. You do something in a free trial and then it's, hey, out of 0 of 10, how much should you recommend my product to somebody? I don't know for you, but I hate those. I literally hate those because I think people don't put effort in it. It's a score without context. So for me, if it's just to have a vanity metric that you can put on a dashboard to your management and say, oh, our NPS is 9.3 out of 20 people that fill it in, and that you feel good with that, good for you. But for me, that is.
And then you get the question, why? Why is it the total score 2 or 8?
Sometimes you do have that where people can, based on the score, just put some free text. You're very lucky if people fill in the free text, first of all. And if they fill it in, you will probably 9 times out of 10 end up with something like, my account manager is very exceptional and has been so helpful in the relation. D, give him a rise, give him money, send flowers to the client, fine. What do you do with that? Peanuts. If you think about now how you can address it, we had at Actito what we call QBRs, quarterly business reviews. And that is drastically different because that is not an NPS. That is basically, when I was owning CS, I said to the guys, the only thing I don't want you to do during the QBR is trying to sell something. I nearly got fired for that. Don't get me wrong. Because when your boss hears that you tell to his team not to sell, he says, who the fuck is that guy? What he's trying to do? And for me, we had to shift, and that's a feedback look out of that NPS that I took. Odds, where do you need to deliver in the 3-6 months to come, not to get fired? That totally flipped the game, man. Totally. We had feedback about the real goal in the company, how we were perceived, the good, the bad, the ugly, where we didn't deliver, where we over-delivered, or budget. They were just spitting it out just because we did that. You do that 4 times a year with all your clients. You just destroy the entire NPS bingo bullshit game. And you have real insightful conversation with your client that help you define your next strategy, make your client super champion in their job. They will evolve. You get more traction, everybody wins. Business is about win-win relations. If you're not in your brain like built for win-win, go do another job, man. Go do another job. If you think at yourself only, you shouldn't be in any kind of sales or marketing. It's always about win-win. The pay forward, genuinely be interested in your client, C+1 company. It's funny because now I speak with you and I really feel old by saying it. I think that is what drives me. And that's why I became that kind of connector in the game. Because that is how I've been trained. Damn, be focused about humans, relations, helping, help.
I have one last question before we end the episode. It's about building alignment. You say the biggest challenge you solve is bridging the gap between marketing, sales, product, and customer success. What's the first thing you do when you come into a team where that bridge doesn't exist?
First of all, you're not legit to basically break those silos. Because most of the time your role is within one of those silos. And I've never been hired to break the silos because there is no silos. You know it as I do. Nobody is preaching you when you, how do you say that? When you try to have a job. I never heard a company that told me, our biggest gap is we have too much silos. I don't know for you, but I never heard firsthand from a founder that would be part of my mission. So I think you don't have any legitimacy to break silos. What you try to do is starting to build bridges with other teams so that the silos reduce by time and that it becoming a focus point of your organization or the organization that you're working for. And in my opinion, the best thing to do that is to try to align people behind a North Star metric. And I know that most of the company will think about percentage of growth, new ARR, of those kind of things. I think there are other KPIs that can align better the teams. And so it's probably about finding those. It's a piece of, I will say, the play that I try to do. It's try to identify what would be a shared KPI that break or reduce that silo effect that allows to build better bridges with one specific team. And I think you start with one and then another one, and you might have different North Star metrics depending on the bridges that you try to lay. For example, one that I have with Luzmo is I'm not paid on revenue, which is strange. Most of the marketing teams are 100% driven on net new ARR, expansions, whatever you can imagine. Our North Star metric is accepted leads by sales, which is by default also from that top-down approach, but we have defined that KPI with it. So basically, every people of my team, that's the only target that they have. The only thing where I can get judged by sales is that simple target. They don't address anything else. They just say, they look at the MQLs, hand over to sales and owned by sales. And the amazing thing about it that we put in place, they can destroy that KPI sales. Because I just used the word handover, they can hand over back to marketing. So if your target is 100 MQL a month, I deliver 100, they try to engage, doesn't work, they can throw them back. So that means that my KPI, I didn't reach 100. I need to do 100 less the one that they push back. And this is where we build so good relation with sales, because they may push back, but then it's mandatory, give context, have a conversation with the demand gen team that will pick back that lead from them. Most of the time, from what we're seeing here, within a couple of weeks, we can hand over them back again.
Interesting.
Simple. Somebody does a trial. It's a good ICP, the good persona. We hand it over to sales. The guy go on vacation for 2 weeks, which can happen. So he ghosts, of course, my sales. Sales say, fuck you, marketing. That guy never picked up. Throw it back. Can happen. The demand gen has context. never picked up the phone, never interact on the platform, da-da-da-da. But my demand gen is paid to reactivate that. So they will outreach on phone, they will do a LinkedIn touch, they will find somebody else in the organization. We have many other plays at our end. And strangely, Odd is back on vacation. But of course, Rosita, I was just on vacation. Now I'm ready to buy. Hoopla! Go back to sales. And the guys are happy.
Yeah, I love it.
It's not more complex than that. It's not more complex than
No,
that. We did business in life by shaking hands, man. That's how we did business before. It was here, shake hands, we have a deal. Why is now all that shizzle fuzzle thing making it different? I love to talk about data, and I know that was also one of a slide idea here. My grandfather had a newspaper store. You know what? He know better his client than I know my client. And hear me well, he had 150 clients every single day from Monday to Saturday, pushing the door. Bonjour, Monsieur Edmond. Barbara, my grandfather had the newspaper ready, the cigarettes, the chocolate. He knew every single client. Did he have a CRM? No. He was like, even the tickets were on a paper stuff, you know, where you had that noise like, I still have the noise in my ears. He knew every single client. He could even play the lottery of some of his clients because he knew exactly, he played 7, 22, 25, 46, 47. Super number was 9. He knew it. So he was preparing that. Do we agree still as usual? As usual. Ting, ting. What do we have? I know that you went on my website, read this page, spend so many times, follow me on social media. I send you a box of chocolate, da, da, da. But when I meet you in an event, it's like, I know that we met somewhere, but I don't know where anymore.
Yeah.
But you had a very good episode, and I highly recommend the people that listen here to re-listen to that episode about the Frankenstack that you use with amazing. When I was running and listening to that, I say, yeah, we are so much in a run about technology, and we should basically get so much back to human relations.
Yeah, I agree. Really agree. In fact, the analogy you just went with, I did for my keynote at EMAS in Amsterdam in 2024. I had like this old merchant, you know, knowing all of his clients, and I won't say it's in my own words, but it was I had basically the same point as you, like comparing how things were done back in time and how we should, do it now. And basically, we should be that old time merchant. We should aim at being as good as they were, knowing their audience, knowing their customers.
100% agree.
Before we wrap up now, if someone's listening to this or watching and they're a marketing leader without a RevOps person on their team, maybe struggling with alignment, maybe feeling like they're flying blind on data, what's the one thing they should do this week to start fixing it shortly?
Hire one. Hire one.
That easy.
Hire one. And a tip to hire it, take something very painful. But when I say very painful, that kind of shit stuff you don't manage to deliver. Write it down on a piece of paper. Sleep on it. Review it in the morning. Throw it in ChatGPT to make like that call even more clear. Drop it on LinkedIn. You will have shitload of people that will help you solve that problem, and that are RevOps. Honestly, I think it's not more difficult than that. Consider a RevOps as if AI augment humans today, RevOps augment the capabilities of a marketing team or a sales team as much as AI is augmenting humans today.
Yeah. We're ending on a deep note there.
Ta-dam!
Jonathan, thank you so much for joining me. If people want to connect with you or follow you, what you're doing at Luzmo, where should they find you?
Luzmo.com is great if you're in data visualization, analytics, leveraging data. Love to have chats with all those people. Roast me, roast my product, roast what I do in marketing. So I'm becoming better tomorrow. That's always what I'm looking at. So definitely that's more on the professional side. On more a private side, LinkedIn is my home in the week. So I put myself a rule not to be on LinkedIn in the weekends so that I spend time with families, friends, and everything. But from Monday to Friday, if I can be of any help that you want to have like input, insight, or just have a cool chip chat coffee, I already had a couple of those with Odd in the past as well. Just like jumping in a 15-30 minute call to exchange IDs. Always looking for that as well. I don't define myself as a connector, so hit the button, connect, put a message. Don't do as everybody just connecting for the God's sake. Put a message, and then I will be more than happy to engage a conversation if I can bring value or help for anything. Be there to help.
I'll leave the links to how to get in touch both with Luzmo and with you in the episode description. Jonathan, Wuurman, thanks for being on The Ordinary.
Thank you at The Ordinary for inviting me. Thank you, Odd, for always inspiring me about amazing things. I will always remember our UTM conversations that are strong in my heart still today, and that I still love that much. It's still very complex to roll out in a company, to be honest, because it's really about change. But no, thank you for being part of my professional journey and for inviting me to your podcast. I hope really that people will have value out of it. If not, feel free to say so too. It's also good learning for myself as well. So otherwise, happy to connect with everybody.
Thank you, and have a good day.
You too,
Bye.
mate. Peace.